Okay. Well, good morning. Good Tuesday morning to you. This is our week 3 boot camp work group session. And this week we are talking about training on the new health assessment. And if you guys were on the leadership call, they are now talking about this new health assessment and different ways that it can be used. And of course, we had a bit of a jump start as we trained on it earlier in the week on Saturday. So, or I guess that would be last week technically. And so this is the new form for tracking information for people. And one of the things that I want to remind you all is this won't be the last tracking form that Optavia comes up with. We're constantly learning new conversations, new ways to ask questions, and just kind of changing it up so it doesn't get stale. But as we find new vocabulary to uncover someone's desires and then talk about how to assist them in achieving those things, we'll come up with new forms. And so it's really critical for you guys to remember that tracking your client's current reality, which changes every day, and over a couple months, their current reality could change pretty drastically, especially if they're on the 5 and 1. They could be losing in 2 to 3 months, they could be down 20 to 30 pounds. And so with this particular system, you're getting current reality, and then you're having them imagine the future and the outcome that they desire. We call that desired outcome. And so we're constantly moving them and focusing them and refocusing them on that desired outcome in the future. And so we do that through an assessment. And of course, then on a week-to-week basis, we're updating current reality with their current weight, with what they're learning, what they're reading, the breakthroughs they're having, people that are noticing this, they're sleeping better, they're stronger, they're, lots of different current reality changes as you get closer and closer and closer to the desired outcome. And then one of the important pieces that some of us might forget or not realize is that once someone achieves a lot of the desired outcomes they want, if they don't create new desired outcomes, create some new space for new things they want to achieve, what will happen is if you don't have something pulling you to the future, you'll have something pulling you to the past. And so you constantly want to reassess where you're going to, and that way you don't go back and just, um, redo what you've done because you've lost your motivation. So I want to switch over at this time to get a little bit of feedback. We're going to have a couple of work group sessions here where we actually do some health assessments with each other. But I want to connect with you guys, either an aha that you've had by looking at this health assessment or walking through this, or if you guys performed one or two of these since Saturday. And so anyway, some feedback on the health assessment, maybe a new highlight. Who wants to go first? Let's say Vane, you're up first. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. You're good.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Yes, I love this new health assessment. I was glad we got a jump start because right after we had our webinar, whatever you call it, on Saturday, I had somebody that sent me a well-being evaluation that I had sent about a month ago. And so I connected with him right away, and we did the health assessment, and it's so easy. I loved it. He's going on a vacation, but when I said, when do you want to get started? He said the 1st of October. And we set exactly the day he wanted to order his fuelings, because I asked him if he wanted to order them before then, so he'll have them, but he wanted to do it then, and it's just awesome. I love it.
Hmm.
Also, I wanted to say, last night when Becca Tinter was doing her thing, and also they went over the guideline. I thought that was really interesting, and they talked about maybe laminating it because it's got all of those answers to questions and things that you need to say when they ask certain things, and I thought it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even realize that. I knew it was when I printed it up, it printed this also, and I really didn't look at it really well.
Mm-hmm.
But that was, it's, if you don't know, um, or hadn't seen that last night, I'm going to go get this laminated so I can just have it to use.
Yeah, thank you, Vinay. That's awesome because I think we should all read through the guidelines because it's sort of like strategy. Whenever you're playing like a board game, you read through the rules, and then you maybe there's some parts where it says strategy. If this happens, you want to do that. If this happens, you want to do that. But if you don't know about those strategies, you don't get to take advantage of them. And so those guidelines are like strategies for things to do in the moment when those come up. And so reading, being very well versed in those will actually give you confidence to have when an interview, when a question comes up, or a challenge, or an objection, or whatever it might be, you're like, oh, well, let me tell you, that's this or that's that. So great stuff. Who wants to go next? Anybody else have an aha? Pretty simple stuff, I think.
I like I like that it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
I like I like that it's so easily laid out that I don't have to reword it in order to make it work. It's all there for me already, and I don't have to think about it so much, because I think the old health assessment, or the old health assessment, I was having to think about, okay, now that they brought this up, how do I work past this? And we're getting caught up in this area, and I haven't gotten caught up in any kind of space in the new health assessment yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it'll happen, but I think that when that does happen, that I would have a way to work through it easier because of the way it's laid out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. I like too at the bottom of the first page. It says if not ready yet, use this area to track follow-ups. And so then there's a little bit of some words that they make a suggest. I appreciate that you may need to think about this a little bit. May I continue to follow up with you and see how your health journey is going? Because after all, the reality of what happens when you've completed one of these is someone's just shared some pretty important things about their future with you. They shared some dreams, they shared desires, they shared some things that they value inside, and then they told you how bad it was. And for someone to imagine, if I said, well, current reality is my house has holes in the roof, has holes in it. I don't got a front door. There's rats running all over the place. And then they talk about this house of the future that they want. And then they talk about why I'd like to have a house that doesn't have, holes in it. I would like to have a front door for security and to keep the wind out. And then you tell them about, that you do construction and your specialty is doors and roofs and stuff. And then they say, you go, so when would you like me to get started? And they say, not interested. Think of how crazy that sounds when you're talking about your house. But people say that about, if you think about it, we don't actually live in a house. We live in this body first, right? And we have drafty, we have a broken roof, and we've got, sometimes things are not good at all. And then they say, oh, well, I'm just going to buy a tent. I'm just gonna, rough it and sleep in my backyard in a sleeping bag or something. You're like, what? Like, and so the reality of what we do, if you guys see that as that, like, no, these are your dreams you just told me about, and you're gonna let money get in the way of your dreams. If your house has a leaky roof, you're gonna figure something out. You're gonna buy a tarp. Start there, and then save money. One thing that I've noticed, Rita, we'll come into you in a minute, is if somebody has the objection about finances, um, add time to it. So you really want to do this. These are really your dreams. Okay. And this is where you are. Okay. And I know I can get you there when you want to get started. Oh, I'm not sure I can afford it. And I wonder if we were just to say, you're not sure if you can afford it when? Right now, today? What about in a month? What if we could help you get started moving towards your goals in a month? I'm sure I'll have the time. Well, okay, what if we went 3 months? Or because imagine if you went out a year. If you eventually go out far enough, finances can't be the real issue, right? I mean, let's go 10 years. You could save a penny a day and eventually you'll have enough money to get started. And the real cost of the program is the difference between what they're spending on groceries, food and beverage, entertainment, food and beverage. Whatever that number is, and what they would be spending on our program. Of course, that's just food. That is no counseling, no coaching, that is no habits of health, that's nothing else. That's just merely food. So the difference between that number and the new number, the health number, is what you're talking about. And in most cases, I don't know, it's about $25 to $50 more per month. And I don't know about your experiences, but it's about that. So when you're talking to somebody and you say, so really what we're talking about is the difference. And so how soon do you think you could have an extra $50 a month in order to be able to go swimming and fit in that bathing suit and go running or look in the mirror and have the mirror smile back at you? All those things we just talked about, because it seems like $50 is, and so you're supporting them, helping them get with it. Sounds like $50 is the thing that's between you starting now and you waiting to get those things that you said you wanted. So how long do you think it would take before you can have an extra $50 a month? Do you want to work on can I coach you through a plan to find that money? Because I know you want these things really bad. So you make it about what they want. You're not trying to get them as a client. To what end is that? It's to help them achieve those dreams. So eventually, if you stretch it out far enough, the real objection will come about, and it's not finances. Ultimately, it might be right today, but not in 10 years. Come on. I mean, there's no way, especially if they're ready to buy the new iPhone. Okay, just saying. Right. So anyway, ultimately we're partnering with them to help them, fix that roof, that hole in their roof. So make sure that you don't make this about the idea I have. We're coming to you next, Rita. The idea I have is that you have the problem, which is the things they just said aren't good enough, and then the solution, right? So you have that problem sitting in between you, and you're saying, do this, and you're pulling this way, and they're like, I can't, and they're pulling this way. And so you're playing tug of war over their problems, right? So imagine in your mind, what would it look like? How could you get on their side of the table and both of you grab that problem and you pull together? So now you're not fighting over the problem. You're working together to fight the problem. And when they switch to the other side of the table and they start fighting over the problem, Say, whoa, hold on a second, and get back over around the side and start looking at the problem together and solving it together, because you're there as a partner with them. So Rita, you're up.
Well, that was excellent. Thanks, Craig. And what makes it easier to do that, and what I found is so much of this had to be memorized, and you had to be good, maybe with people and personality. That's hard to transfer. So like with Christina being new and she's out there and a lot of fun, but everything is right there. And and that makes it so much simpler for them if they would just stay out of their head, because then you just follow the outline. And then that leaves room for just what you just said. When they have problem comes up, you don't get so side derailed. And you go, oh, well, is that a problem? Because I have a single mom right now, and she said, well, it's all shaken out right now because I'm not getting my muffin and coffee every morning. And how many calories are you saving there? And she's already seeing it shaken out, even though the first hit was a big one, all at once. But it's all shaken out because she's not doing all the other things. And that's how quick they notice when you get them turned around. So, yeah.
Yep.
But I like the follow-up. You don't lose, like, oh, shoot, I missed that, and I got to call them back. Well, if you do it all at one time, you're good to go.
Yep. Yeah, whatever objection comes up, you're there to help them get what they want. Now, if they say, their dreams can wait, I don't know, you might just say, were these really your dreams? And how long, when do you want to start moving towards those dreams? And what does that look like? I love the 2 questions at the end, and I'm curious if anybody has tried those on. The first one is, and so based upon what I've told you, how do you see these 4 components getting you different results than what you've got in the past, or some way of saying that? So you have them tell you why the program is awesome. That's the goal. Or why it makes sense. Have any of you asked that question? And if so, I'd love to hear from you. Vonne, it sounds like you have. Go ahead, I'll unmute you. What did you ask somebody, or you just think it's a good question?
No, I've asked somebody that, and that's the question where they tell you why this is a good program versus what they've been doing or what they've done. And that's an awesome way of getting them on board. That's what I found.
When I've asked that question, people have said, well, I can see how this is more than a diet. Do you know how powerful it is for them to say that and not you? When I say, because this is not a diet, it's sort of like you're just kind of trying to cram it into their head. This is not a diet, but when they say, well, I can see this is not a diet, it's just totally different. They found that inside and are telling you. You're not trying to just convince them it's not a diet. And I heard someone else say, well, I can really see there's a community piece here. And I also see that there's accountability. And actually, I see that I'm actually going to be learning about how to be healthy, not just lose weight. I've heard all of those when I've asked that question. And then the second question is, I wasn't there last night, but did Becca Tinter, did she say that these things? I know where you are, I know where you want to be, and I'm certain I can get you there. The next question is, when do we get started? She didn't say that, because that's came from her. But so it sounds like, Vonne, you asked somebody that question, when do we get started? And they said, well, let's get started right away. Yep. Perfect. Yep. All right. So anybody else have any comments?
Is that question on the this printout?
I don't see it.
The other one before, I don't see either one.
Yeah, I know she said it in trainings that we've been to, but I don't see that it is on here.
It is on here on the back. After you've asked about their medications and all that. It says, now that I know a little bit about you and your health goals. Oh, no, that's not the one. Okay. I thought it was on here. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see it as well, but it's what's a great question. And that's why you'll come up with your own terminology. Just because it's not on here doesn't mean it's not an effective thing to say. But you
Can I
want
say
to,
something, Craig?
yeah,
Ever since you said that, I don't know if it was last boot camp or what. Ever since you said that, I use it. I use it all the time. That's why I thought it was on there, because I love that. Because this health assessment, you do know where they are from going through it, and they know you know.
yeah,
And so, when you put it that way, it brings it all back to them. Oh yeah, okay, well, yeah, I need to start this.
yeah.
So I love that
So
question.
if you guys want to write it down, well, I can type it in the chat window here too, so you can all have it. Let's see here. Come on, chat.
The one question with the 4 components, after you go through that question,
Mhm.
I ask it different every time, but I'm not real confident with it. What one? That one's good. It's like, why is this going to be different?
Yeah. Oh, so the first one is so based upon the 4 components or the 4 cornerstones, how do you see these,
Okay.
benefiting you or different than what you've done before? Because you want to establish why this program is going to be different than, well, they're not going to be able to say, well, I'm just going to go hire a personal trainer. They've probably done that before. Or I'm going to try Weight Watchers again for the 9th time, right? I mean, whatever they're going to say, you want to say, how do you see these 4 components and the way our program is designed getting you somewhere, making a different impact? How do you see this outcome being different than the outcomes you've got when you've done the other things you've tried? And some of the other things they've tried, they might still incorporate in our program. Obviously, exercise is something they're going to incorporate. So it's not like a new program. But and the other thing is, I know what you want. I'm certain, certain I can help you get there. The last question is, when do you want to get started? I put that in the chat. Or when do you want to begin? Or when do you want to get started? Or,
Craig,
Yes, sir.
under the page where the top word is invite, remember there is a 3-line sentence that kind of goes around that a little bit. And listening to what you shared with me, I feel that this is a perfect fit for you and your lifestyle. I'm excited to get you started, and so on and so forth. So that's similar. Not
Is
quite.
this on the guidelines page?
This is on the after you've shared. It's the page right after.
Oh, yeah.
Right
Okay.
after sharing the 4 components, the pillars.
Yep.
Next page, invite. Underneath that, it has that question or several.
Okay. Yep. So I wanted to just show you guys that, does everybody know how to find this document in the coach answers? Does anybody not know how to? Okay. You're all good on that. Perfect. So I'm going to pull it up here. Health assessment with guidelines. And so it would be share. So it's the second page of the assessment guidelines. Yep, it's the second page. It says invite. And so that's where that's why you want to read through all these guidelines and have a good idea of what's here. And this is the soft skills portion that they've captured from some of the best coaches, right, in our company, that these are those great terminologies that they have come up with that just communicate really clearly what we're doing in few words. So
So the thing
anyhow.
that I like, Craig, on this, because I use a sheet protector,
Mhm.
and with the invite and the share, make the notes on there that really support the way you want to ask. So you
Mhm.
can, because they can't give it to you and say, do it this way, but they give you the outline. If you're going to give an amount, or I put the amount of the kits right here so I don't have to stumble over it. And
Mhm.
so it's right there with me. So, and highlight the things I want. And that has been helpful because I put it all on paper and I don't have to try to remember, oh, check,
Mhm.
check, check.
Yeah, and get one of those protectors and having it in your coach's kit, having it there as something that you're referring to, yeah, all the time. And that's great. All right, well, let's go ahead and practice. Who here has practiced one of these already? Just a show of hands. Any of you? A couple of you? All right. Well, great. So what we're going to do today is we're going to actually practice with each other. And so if you haven't
Was that practice
practiced
one,
one,
Craig, or done one?
either I guess doing one is practicing one. So yeah, yeah. So if you've done what you could have done one on Saturday or practice with one of us, but what we want to do is get the terminology, get the flow. One of the things that you may have discovered in your own life, and some of these things are real basic, but they were big ahas for me. Is if I was going to read, like say you were going to read a passage of something in front of a group, just reading that passage one time before I read it out loud, somehow my brain, without any effort at all, the words flowed better just by reading it one time. I didn't memorize it. I just read through it one time. And then I've done it where I've never read it. I just knew what I needed to read and I got up there for the first time. And it was just a different, I was I was learning the rhythm for the very first time in front of somebody when I needed to do it, in front of a group. And so reading through these questions one time will give you, if you've never done it, it'll give you 100% more familiarity with it. Right. So that's pretty great. All right, Christina, I'll unmute you. Go ahead.
Oh,
Did you have
um,
something?
yeah, I was just gonna say that two things. One, my child's awake and not feeling well, so I should probably go. But the second thing is, I was thinking Rita was like dead on. She was mentioning saying that you don't get lost with the new health assessment, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that I don't get lost, that I don't get carried away and talking about something else, that it keeps me focused and on track to get to the end goal, which is figuring out their goals and figuring out, okay, now that we figured this out, let's get you there. Are you
Mm-hmm.
ready to get them?
Yep.
Right?
Awesome. Yep. Perfect.
I've been, salting and seeding people for a while, and I just have people coming around now all by themselves. I'm not saying nothing. They're just
Mm-hmm.
coming around and happening because they're realizing that, oh my gosh, I've tried everything else. I've expended all my resources. Now what?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if somebody approaches it like, oh, I want to try this other thing. I'm going to try the keto diet or the paleo diet or the Weight Watchers or whatever. Okay, great. Let me know how that works for you. I'd love to hear what your feedback is on how the results are. You're getting closer to what you want in your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about saying, oh, well, that's bad, because it probably isn't. But finding, like you've been saying, finding the value in creating the value in what we do versus what someone else does, that no other program has the four components.
Right. Perfect.
They have
Thank you.
maybe two, but they don't have four. And this is a way of showing that
Mm-hmm.
and helping them to maybe just realize it on their own instead of pushing it, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not like a force pill. You can't just shove it down their throat and be like, here, let it help your body. No, they have to want it. I mean,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
So Yep.
So if you aren't able to do the assessment when we create the breakout rooms, it will kind of break the breakout rooms if you're not able, if you're driving and you can't participate. So at this point, if you're able to participate this morning, stay on. If you're not, we're just going to practice taking a health assessment with each other. So I want to invite you to sign out at this time, unless you can dive in and go through this with us. All right. So if you're still here, it means you want to practice. So let's go here with, we're going to do 2 to 3 people per room. And so if you have 3 people, because we have an odd number, I'm going to try to do 1 to 2, and we'll see how that goes. And so we're going to do 10 minutes. And so you'll have 10 minutes to ask the questions. You want to talk about the awaken. Be an easy partner, because it's your answers to the questions aren't the point of the assessment. It's the person doing the interview. So be an easy interview and come up with some basic things, and get there fairly quickly so that they can get through all the questions and see how they flow, and then at the end, you're going to put your story in there, but that's a little, 90 seconds on your story. And then, so try to get through up to at least the end of 2. I don't think you'll go into number 3, which is the health considerations, but if you have time, you can go there. But you definitely want to get through 1 and 2 in the assessment. And then if you can get to sharing the 4 components, we always can develop a better rhythm on what our 4 components are, the cornerstones: coaching, habits of health, community, and fueling. Right, Rita?
Where do you put that really works the best? Is it like after they've shared their routine and habits and a little bit in there, or where does that fit the best?
Yeah, I would say either between 2 and 3, or after 3. It says explain our offer and program. Use the health assessment guideline document to explain the best program for them. So probably after 3, because if they're nursing, I mean, you can go through 3 pretty quickly, right? But do you have any health considerations that I could know about? Any problems with diabetes? Are you taking any medications? And they say, well, I'm pregnant. Okay, well, 5 and 1's out, but 3 and 3's not out. 4, 2 and 1's not out. But we don't want to be in a deep state of fat burn and be pregnant. So, I mean, not across the board. You don't want to. There might be certain situations where that might be appropriate. But our fuelings, by the way, the main thing that they do is balance blood sugar. So women that have gestational diabetes and maybe are bedridden because of complications, our program and our fuelings are a godsend to those people. It balances their blood sugar, and you don't have to be getting up all the time to get it. You can just have your 5 or 6 fuelings right there, and you can be basically on the couch being healthy, getting the best prenatal vitamin on the market, which is 5 of those fuelings per day. Right now, they're going to want to have some fruit and some other things so they don't go into fat burn. But our program is an amazing pregnancy program, and our program is not the 5 and 1. That's one of the strategies with our program, right? If they're a nursing mother, 5 and 1's not going to be appropriate, but we have nursing mothers. If they're type 1, type 2, right? So we have different strategies, because our program is optimal health, moving towards that lifelong transformation. So I'm going to separate us up now, and then kind of get right to it. Pick just one of you guys. Say I'll go first, and then you'll have 9 minutes to actually, what I was saying by number 1 and number 2 is on the health assessment. Number 1 says awaken. Number 2 says daily routines and habits. And then on the back, it says health considerations. That's number 3. So who asked that question? Lauren King. Did that answer your question, Lauren? Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to send you guys into rooms, and then at 9 minutes, I will give you a, wherever you're at, jump into, okay, so based upon what you've told me, here's my recommendation of how we're going to get you there. And then you'll go through, here's the 4 components. All right? Okay, here we go. So click on your, open all rooms. There you go. Now you'll probably see the invitation. Hey there.
Hi.
So it looks like there is no one here. You were the odd one out, and
I'm the
so
odd duck.
because now I get to join you in here. Let me just double check on the breakout.
Oh my gosh, I get the master of this?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, I don't know I'm the master, but we can definitely talk. Now, Amy Oliver looks like she's not joined. And so what I might have you do is work with Rita, because she's in a room all by herself.
Okay.
Room 5, and I'll probably come over there and watch you guys too. So I'm going to move you to room 5. There you go.
Pounds.
Okay. Can you tell me about a time in your life when you were healthier?
Well, it's been years, so probably when I was, first married in my 20s, maybe. It's been so long, it's hard to remember.
I understand that. Well, what was different then than now? What's changed?
Complacency, I guess, and just being busy with children and grabbing whatever you can grab to eat, and it just puts weight on you.
That's true. What would it mean to be at your healthy weight, in terms of your activities or your relationships or how you feel?
Well, I have grandchildren now, so it'd be nice to be able to, keep up with them and live long enough to see them grow up. That's kind of what.
38, 139, somewhere in there.
All right, that's good to know. And then I got the 10 pounds. Okay. Well, can you just tell me about a time in your life when you were healthier, and what has changed between then and now?
Sure.
That 10 pounds really is tough. So.
Right. So, well, I used to be a fitness instructor. Okay. So I was super fit because I was doing all these classes all the time and that kind of thing. And then ended up going back to work and gained weight, and just seems like I start to lose weight and then I gain it right back. So even if I'm working out, so I think I'm a little bit older, maybe my metabolism slowed down, that kind of thing. So I like to feel a little
Makes sense
more
there. So as we get older, that happens. Us women, yeah. we have those challenges. But what would it mean to you to be at that healthier weight? The healthier place, the way you felt you were.
You just feel better in your clothes. You feel a little more confident. I feel like you want to go do things, even feeling like I want to go work out. There's times when I'm so tired, it's like, oh, forget it.
Well, so your main motivation for wanting to make these changes to your health is to have a better quality of life. Is that what you just said?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because I think it all goes, if you're feeling better, your quality of life definitely improves because you want to do more things and you just feel better walking into the room and feel better in your own skin, right?
Yep. Yep. Wow. Well, that's awesome. Well, it's very similar, now that I've heard just a little bit about your current situation and some of your goals, I just want to give you a quick idea of what's possible. That's okay. I found this program, thought I had 20 pounds to lose. I've realized it was 40, So that was 8 years ago, and I've kept it off. And people were asking, I became a coach to pay it forward. And this happens quite often, that we help each other. Being a fitness instructor may be something that you're going to be excited about. So we'll talk about that when that time comes. So the possibilities, I got healthy, but the benefit was the weight just comes off. So we'll talk more about that. But I'd love to get a little bit more about your daily routines with a couple questions here, because there's like areas and factors that contribute to your overall physical health. So I'd like to explore those with you real quick.
Okay.
Sleep. How many hours of sleep do you get typical night?
Oh gosh, I would say probably not enough. I would probably sleep maybe like 6 hours, sometimes 5 hours a night. So maybe should get a little bit more. Just life gets busy, right?
Well, and so what time do you typically go to bed?
Maybe 11 or even midnight sometimes, depending on what I'm doing.
Okay. And you get up?
6.
Okay.
If I wake up in between, kind of thing.
Okay, so that being said, you're not getting enough sleep, but is the sleep you're getting, what kind of quality is it? Is it?
It could be better, for sure.
Okay, so do you feel rested, or you're still kind of tired when you get up?
Yeah, on those nights like that, I'm tired. So I would say this is definitely an area I need.
An 8.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's see. Does that mean it's time for me for us to change over? Oh, okay. You're just hanging. Okay. And tell me, Angie, what do you do for work?
I'm just a mom.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty big job. Definitely. How about on a scale of 1 to 10? Do you enjoy staying home with your kids? And
most of the time, I do. I have a 12-year-old, so I'm trying to enjoy this stage.
Okay. All right.
Without killing her.
That's a good way to describe it with kids. Do you have any other stressors in your life that you want to share?
Yeah, my husband's in a master's program, and so and then we're both in pretty demanding callings in our church where we serve a lot, and so those are probably the 2 biggest stressors besides just the 4 kids.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you sharing me that. Tell me about your eating habits. How many meals per day do you eat?
I'm probably more of a grazer. I sit down for dinner with the family, but I'm usually eating breakfast as I'm getting kids ready, and lunch, I maybe forget about that. So.
Okay. And what time do you eat your first meal generally?
Usually within an hour after waking up. While I'm getting kids, so between 6 and 7.
Okay, 6 to 7 a.m. How about your last meal? What time do you normally eat that?
Well, dinner usually is around 7, but I will probably snack before bed. So.
Okay, snack after that. Okay, and do you generally snack in between your meals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the club. What kinds of snacks do you eat generally?
The sugary stuff that's bad for you.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you're not a minority in that one for sure.
Time to switch it up or to take and and wrap it up and then switch.
All right. Two more questions really quick. How about, would you feel comfortable sharing your age?
Yep, I'm for
every single day.
Okay. So now, how would you describe your current state of health? You said you're in pain every day.
Yes, I don't sleep. I fall asleep in weird places, trying to keep up with 4 small children. I hope they forget this part of our life.
Okay, wow. All right, so how much weight would you like to lose?
Probably about 30 pounds.
Okay. Well, can you tell me about a time in your life when you were healthy, when you're, 30 pounds less?
I guess I always felt like the big girl, even though when I was in high school and playing tennis 6 days a week, I always had a bigger skirt size than everybody else. It was embarrassing. We had to write it down. But I mean, I was exercising intensely 6 days a week, but had eat terrible. So.
But that's when you felt healthier?
Yeah.
Back then? Okay. All right. So what would it mean to you to be at that healthy weight again?
I would love just to have more energy. I would feel better about myself, and I would be a better mom for my kids.
Okay. So what's your main motivation for wanting to make changes to your health?
Well, I'd really like to not hurt, but I'd also like my children to not ever have to go through this.
Okay. Yeah, great. So now that I've heard a little bit about you and your current situation and some of your goals, I want to give you a quick idea of what's possible. I was about 7 years ago is when I started, the program. And before that, though, when I was in my 30s, I was a fitness instructor, or they called us aerobics instructors. And I was at the top of my game. I was so fit. And I had to have a surgery. So after the surgery, I quit teaching exercise and I started gaining weight. And I gained a lot of weight and I didn't feel like myself. And so all of a sudden, I was desperate, and I tried several different things, which I would lose 10 pounds here and gain 15 pounds back and forth. So 7 years ago, I thought I had lost my metabolism because I couldn't lose weight anymore. And my brother and sister-in-law, who were older than me, they were doing this program and having great success. So I thought, I'm going to try that. I tried everything else. And my brother said, told me about it, and I said, I can't lose weight. I've lost my metabolism. He said, Bonnie, you do what I tell you to do, and you don't have a choice. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. And then when it doesn't work, you can pay me back. So I did it, and I was so happy I did, because that first week I lost 3.5 pounds, and I couldn't believe it.
Okay. What would you consider to be a healthy weight for you? The 199?
I don't know. If that was 199, I'd be on top of the world. I know that's not my fighting weight, but that would be a good weight.
What would you consider to be a healthy weight? We just did that. Have you tried to lose weight in the past?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of things have you done?
Oh, Weight Watchers, Lean Cuisine, Lindora, the vinegar diet, the grapefruit diet, the I give up chunk cheese diet, starvation, meditation, fasting, you name it, I've done it.
And that also sounds so familiar to me. So what's been difficult about losing or maintaining your weight?
It's the seafood part. I see it, I eat it. I'm not very diligent. I'm not, I start off really good, and I'm really determined and disciplined, and that lasts about 2 weeks. And then it gets really, really old. Nobody sees that I've lost 5 pounds when I do. There's not much support. I'm doing it on my own.
Yeah.
So I get weak.
Okay. Let's talk about your health considerations, and we have talked about this, through our conversation. I know you have high blood pressure. Are you type 1 or type 2 diabetes?
I'm type 2. Leanne, let's skip this one real quick.
Okay. All right.
You know I've got diabetes, high blood pressure. I'm not allergic to anything.
You're not pregnant or nursing?
Get down to the share part. No, and I'm not pregnant yet, although I've heard in California that's coming.
Okay, where am I going, Craig?
You're going to the share part. That would be this page.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Gotcha. So at Optavia, we want you to live the healthiest life possible. Our programs are simple and easy to follow, and if you followed correctly, leading to lifelong transformation. The secret to our successful track record is that along with the structured eating plan and support, we incorporate healthy habits into everything our clients do. There are 4 components that will make up the foundation of your success. Number 1 is your coach.
That's what helps set us apart from every other program that's out there, is that one-on-one personal attention. Study shows that people that have more success when you have somebody who's on your side and helping you stay focused on your health goals and just kind of helping you move forward from day to day, week to week. And I help keep you accountable. The second component of is the Habits of Health system developed by Dr. Wayne Anderson. He was a doctor, or he is a doctor, but he developed this program. Like I said, it's the components like our healthy sleep, healthy eating, healthy movement. All those things come into play. It gives you a really well-balanced lifestyle to maintain habits of health, and then adopting the habits contribute to your long-term success. Dieting alone doesn't, work by itself. It's a matter of changing your lifestyle. So the weight loss portion is just the beginning steps of starting that journey to a healthier lifestyle. Like you said, you want everything to be more natural. So you get up in the morning and you're feeling good, and you can do yoga first thing in the morning. It's just those little layers and those little baby steps that you need to take to start that habit to live a healthier lifestyle. Third component, besides your health coaches, we have a great community of people. And it's one thing I absolutely love as a new health coach. I am just getting absorbed into all these other people who are like-minded and want to have a healthier lifestyle and help me understand what I need to do to share that with other people. So the community is just amazing. They have great training. They have great support with the nurses, and just anybody you want to have a question about your health, or if I'm not able to answer that question, I have somebody who can backstop me and answer those questions, and I'll get an answer for you. And the fourth component are our fuelings. Like I said, it is so convenient to just be able to grab a fueling. They're all clean label, which means they contain plant-based protein, and a good portion of them are gluten-free and non-GMO, which is really important to a lot of people. Until a couple of years ago, I had not really paid any attention to the whole GMO controversy that's out there. And when I went to convention a couple of years ago, that's when I first heard about it. I'm like, oh, so that is a big deal. That's now that I've looked into it more, it's really a big plus for us as a company. All of our fuelings are nutritionally interchangeable, and the 5 fuelings a day provide all of your 100% of 24 vitamins and minerals to go with, and probiotics for your help with digestion. Most of the time on the 5-in-1 program, you'll enjoy 5 meals a day, 5 fuelings a day, and you'll eat every 2.5 to 3 hours to keep that blood sugar level at an even keel and help raise your metabolism a little bit too. You said you had a slow metabolism. And then the fifth, those are 5 fuelings, and the other meal is what we call a light, lean, and green. It's just something you prepare on your own at home. the vegetables and a protein, a meat of some sort, and you just prepare that on your own. So throughout the day, as you're busy at work in the morning, you kind of grab a bar or make yourself a shake, whatever is convenient for you at that time. You kind of grab it and go, and that's what really helped me when I was working. Is I'd set my alarm for every 2.5 hours, and everybody knew.
All right, guys. Looks like the rest of everybody will be joining us shortly. Here they all come. So curious. Sounds like some of you were able to get through the whole thing. I heard a lot of you telling your stories, and that sounded pretty good. Any highlights, or is this helping? Is this feeling good? Kind of walking through this. Some of you,
Yeah,
let me read it before. Go ahead, Randy.
Yeah, it was really good. I had actually hadn't done this script before. I got it, when we got it over the weekend. But then I was able to copy somebody else's stuff from the old one to here. And man, there's a whole lot more space to put stuff in. It's awesome. So you can really kind of type it out. The only issue I've had is that I've got used to printing everything on two-sided, so I have one page per client. Now I have 2 pages per client, and my book's going to keep getting bigger. But you know what? There are worse problems to have.
Yeah, when you can get a printer that prints both sides, they do have those available. It might be actually printers are pretty inexpensive, but
yeah, well, that's what I'm doing. But when you want to, like when you have page 3 and 4 with the check-ins, you got to have enough check-in spaces, and so you can't really fit that on 2 pages. So I have two-sided pages. That's
so it's
the
4.
way I can do it. But anybody else has any more suggestions, please share.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah, it is more information and it's more details that you track for people. Hopefully we have a bunch of people in the current client folder, and then hopefully you're moving people to the disconnected when they are disconnected, so it frees up that active client folder. So anybody else have any comments before we finish up here? Yeah, Clark, go ahead.
Yeah, this this assessment is much longer than 20 minutes. If you have a person that's a talker, example, I went through this the other night, and the client decided to join our community, which is really cool. We were on the phone for 2 hours. Yeah, she was a talker, and I loved it because she told me all sorts of things about her life. So sometimes this is not a 20-minute deal.
Right.
The first one prior to that was about 45 to 50 minutes, and that was kind of a staccato answers. And I had to pull a lot from the person I was talking to. So this,
I think you can get this. I mean, going 2 hours, if every call or every interview went 2 hours, it would handicap our business dramatically. So there are some opportunities for you in the beginning to gauge, and this is a soft skill each of you will learn. You ask them one question, they talk for quite a while, then you could start questions like, just in 1 or 2 sentences, can you tell me this? Or briefly, can you kind of give me just a number of scale of 1 to 10 on this? And so you can help, like, as you see that they're going to be verbose with their answers, you can kind of script that a little bit there. And then you might abbreviate your story a little bit. Instead of being 90 seconds, you might cut yours down to 60 seconds. By the way, when you are telling your story, because you're probably starting with health in their world, remember that financial health affects our physical health 2 times as much as anything else we do. And so I just want to encourage you, are you familiar with your trilogy story or just your health story? Think about that. How has Optavia, formerly Take Shape for Life, affected your health financially, relationally, stress-wise, and your hope in the future? I mean, seriously, get connected with the reality that has it affected your finances. $500 a month can affect someone's finances. Well, maybe another exercise is let's just take the income you make from Optavia off the table and then look at that. Because it may not be a ton, but it's more than zero, right? So what is that? So make sure that you obviously, as a health coach, it's been able to help me this way. Or my ability to help other people with their goals has done blah, 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 right? So anyway, all right, you guys, well, we will see you again this coming Saturday for week 4, where we're going to be going now transitioning from people that are now clients, and how do we incorporate them into our community. And we've got a couple changes that we've made, a couple of tweaks that will make it more efficient for you. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys all on Saturday. Thanks for your participation here and this practice that you're doing, because I think it make a difference. Yep.
Thanks,
All right,
Greg.
guys. Yep. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.